Well, hey, everyone. I already said that I wasn't going to do the same intro. So luckily, I've kept that up by speaking about it. Although I think if you get too meta, it's not that interesting. But anyway,
Once you draw attention to it, it becomes
I know. Well, I don't know what to do anymore now. But no, glad everyone could join us. I've got some fun things, Gundam related, obviously, to talk about. And again, we do this show the day after Steven's of Midnight Hatters, so check that out. Steven, that was pretty fun yesterday because you came up with a pretty neat concept. If you want to explain it real quick to tease people that haven't seen it.
Yeah, so for those of you from the United States, you may not be familiar with the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, also known as the ASVAB. They give it to people who are joining the military to see what department they would be suited to. So what we did was we tried to the best of our ability, answer those questions as Amuro Ray.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway for me was how deeply I thought about these questions personally. Like, as in, can I answer this? Should I be able to do this math on the fly then? Do I need to look back at geometry and
Well, and that's the best part is it's two 40-year-olds pretending to be a science fiction 15-year-old living in a colony. It's like, even if we know the answer, we have to pretend like we don't. And then, and in most cases, what it actually ended up being is we didn't know the answer, but we know that Amuro Ray would.
Well, yeah, that's right. I love that too, though, because we were really seeking for that character moment,
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, check that out if you haven't. But yeah, so today a bunch of fun, cool things because Hathaway is coming around the corner, the sequel, and actually we don't even know in the US, although it's soon. But I think in Japan it's in like January 30th or something, 31st, whatever.
Yeah, it's right around the end of the month. So
okay, so I'm getting hyped, especially that last trailer that we talked about last time, and so I, for fun, came up with a Hathaway 2 bingo card because, like, I know there's a novel that exists. I'm sure some similarities or carry over, but certain unique moments that happen in Gundam and maybe in context of Hathaway could be funny to guess of what could happen. So we'll kind of dive through that later.
I think we should make it a drinking game and then do a live stream watching Hathaway when it comes out. And
okay, you just connected the dots.
That's
it's got to happen. Okay. Yeah, so we'll do that. And then some other neat little Gundam topics I have that we'll get to. But just to, so it was last week, right? That I have like the Evangelion blind box, or was that like a few weeks ago? Do you remember that?
That was a couple weeks ago. Okay. Yeah.
So I went to the mall and got another box. All right. And this is what it had. It has a Evangelion Unit 1 backpack. Just kind of cool design. It looks like it is. Oh, where did I put?
Is it part of the set where it's like the desktop and like the?
Yeah. And
I
so
do
I'm
like
wondering,
the mini PC.
Yeah, I'm wondering what scale it all is. Like it's Jackie Chan could probably, like, if I took off his arms, maybe almost wear that. I don't know. So
I don't want to fight you.
Yeah, holding the bag and like using it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. It also came with like an MP3 player, and I thought that was a stethoscope, but it's really just headphones. So again, it's like it could be 6-inch, and it's neat because the phone and the wire, it's made to unplug, and they color. It's hard to see, but they colored the auxiliary input that or the so.
That's how you can tell it's retro because, like, obviously everyone would be doing AirPods now, and you wouldn't have a 1/4-inch jack.
Unless Minovsky particles in the future cause interference. I don't know. But and then this is neat. This is a cardboard box, right? But if you open it, it has shoes. Evangelion. I can't get this focused that well. I'll show them off later, but it's like I'm spending $15 on this. It's kind of a lot, but it's kind of fun at the same time. And
there's just something appealing about miniature things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and especially like it's setting up a room. So I'm going to try to go, every time we go to that store at the mall, I'll probably grab another one. But another crazy thing happened. So I don't know if I've told you about the store Box Lunch. Have I mentioned that before?
Yeah.
The name. Okay. So I think they've been around for a while. I don't remember, but I know they have them. They have one in the mall, and they have a lot of Gundam stuff. They have the Gundam Universe figures I got there, some other little Gundam model kits. But when I was there, now this is out of nowhere, guys. They had this SH Figure Arts Beetlejuice. Now, normally I wouldn't get this, even though I love Beetlejuice. I grew up like that was a big deal when I was a kid. Even the cartoon, I had the toys,
Oh, wow.
and I. This was in the clearance section. I was like, well, this didn't come out too long ago because you know that movie about a year ago, the sequel. And I looked it up online. It's still like over 100, and I'm like, it's on clearance for 70, but it says clearance is also 50% off, so that's pretty cheap. I might as well get it. I get up there, and they're like, there's like other discounts, and they're like, okay, the total is like $22, but if you spend like $4 more, you'll get a bigger discount. I'm like, okay. So my wife grabbed something that I think was $8, maybe, and it brought the total to 12. So I got
The
this
math on that
SH
just doesn't work. It doesn't.
and so I didn't bother asking, and it's like, I see, this is why I don't do math. But it's, I don't know if you guys have heard me on maybe this channel or another one. Like there are premium figures, but the SH Figure Arts figures are usually not that great. They kind of have weird engineering. But I will say this is actually done well, considering I wouldn't have bought this normally. So,
No,
but
it didn't come with, like, the pygmy head from the end of the original.
it did.
Yes.
It came with the small head. It came with the sign and the gravestone. It alternate heads, alternate hands. It came with a lot of stuff, and that's why I was
Credit
super
where it's due
stoked.
there is, like, SH Figure Arts does do a lot of, accessories.
Yep, exactly. But
Zagnut bar.
were you into Beetlejuice?
Loved Beetlejuice as a kid,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I loved it too, and it was just that thing where you didn't really understand what it was, except just looked like a monster, but he wasn't like that scary. He was just kind of funny, you know. Um,
Right.
one of
My
those.
parents didn't like that I ran around saying, "Nice effing model," and grabbing my crotch and, like
Okay, well, yeah, there's that.
yeah, they were like, I don't think we should let him watch these kinda movies anymore because he's
And
clearly
you
he
know what? It's
repeats
funny.
lines from movies."
Yeah, and it's funny because like sometimes, like I remember, I don't pick up on that stuff until later. Really, like
Yeah.
if as a parent you make it a big deal, then it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Oh, okay, you know. Um, but it was funny, and I wish I could just pull up the picture. But so the Alec Baldwin's character's name is Adam in Beetlejuice,
Yes.
and he wears, khakis with that checkered checkered, is it black and white, shirt with the red shirt underneath, and he
Yes.
has glasses, and one day I accidentally cosplayed Adam. I had the red shirt on, and I had the white button the white and black button-up shirt, tucked in, because I was gonna go on a call, and I'll just do this real quick, and I looked in the mirror, and I'm like, "Wait a minute. This is the dude from Beetlejuice." And sure enough, I'll have to find that picture sometime and share it. So,
Absolutely.
because it was accidental cosplay, the
The
best
best
cosplay.
kind.
Depending on what the accidental cosplay is, if it's what's a funny example that would be a weird accidental cosplay?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Well, like, there's so many directions you can go with that joke.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that sometimes I accidentally cosplay as Todd Phillips' Joker, like, when my hair's long and I'm standing in the
Okay,
shower and I've got, like, tidy whities on and I'm laughing, I don't
that's okay. There you go. It's like, oops, accidentally Joker. Oh,
That's so that's a
no, that's
terrible
that's
joke.
funny. What was another one? There was one that was a purposeful cosplay back when I didn't know it had the name cosplay. This was in elementary school. I told this before. I would sneak in the clothing to school because my mom wouldn't let me do this, to dress like Ernest P. Worrell.
Yes.
I it was the denim vest with the gray shirt and the denim hat. It was weird.
Oh,
Oh,
Ernest P. Worrell was, like, great
and what
films.
there was something I sent my dad recently about Ernest that was the don't tell me it was, oh, man, I can't forget, because was this Gundam related? It was something with an AI. Yeah, here we go. Wait, no. Oh, okay. Here's one that's funny, actually. I don't know why I send my dad things about Ernest. Hold up. This is the John Cena meme.
Yes, slowly becoming earnest.
Whereas just like Liam Neeson for Naked Gun, they need to have a new Ernest movie with John Cena.
So which one was your favorite growing up?
You know what? That's a good question because I think it changed as they came out just because I was right at that age where a new one would come out. I remember it was Goes to Camp until
Yeah,
Prison, and then it was no, Christmas.
Ernest
And th
Saves Christmas, yeah.
Right, yeah, and then it was Prison, and then it was Halloween, Scared Stupid,
Yep.
and then I think they did NBA and Goes to Africa, and I never saw any of that.
Yeah, I think Scared Stupid was the last one that I watched. Goes to
Which one?
Prison, though, was always my favorite.
Oh, yeah, okay, you're right, I think the Prison one was because I remember the actor that was playing the bad guy was pretty. Wait, and he was the same actor in Pee-wee Herman, not that just uh, anyway,
6
let's
Degrees of
see.
Pee Wee Herman, I don't know.
I know, now Ernest and Pee-wee Herman, I feel like that's a whole vibe, a aura. Like if you're into Pee-wee, Ernest, what's another like goofy, safe character from the 80s, you know? Um,
I don't know.
okay, you know what? Because I want to say it was Ernest in Mobile Suit Gundam, but I feel like I would have shared that with everybody. Anyway, I'll look for that
Yeah,
later.
you have to. I mean, at
I
some point, like, I'm sure, like, if the Rick Diaz sprays out its little foam to seal up a wall and Ernest is sitting there going,
yeah, exactly. I totally forgot. That's exactly what he does. All right. Well, we'll come back to this because it's bothering me. I'm gonna think about this for a long time.
Ernest explained, "Let's make it happen."
Ernest Explained. Golly, that's after my Xenoblade Chronicles
Yeah,
Explained.
definitely.
Okay, let's jump into this first segment. That no, actually, we're not doing that yet. I forgot about this other segment. So I had that video that went up about those GI Joe like Gundam figures. So if you guys hadn't seen that, this is like they've been having these come out for a while. Okay, okay, there we go. I was about to say something happened to the auto focus, but anyway, this piloted on Amuro Ray action figure is just so badass. Even the pouches, and the holster you put on, like I can't believe they bothered with Kai Shinen. It's like, why would you make this figure? But thank you, and I'm buying it. That's this means any white base crew member is on the table, right?
Yep.
If you make Kai Shiden, the one that would be the toughest, they don't have the body frame of is um not Ryu.
Ryu? Oh.
Who what was the other guy?
Hayato?
Hayato. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because
'Cause
Hayato would basically be like a kid figure.
right, exactly.
But I
But
would
although
love to
Ryu's
see a Job John, like
oh, yeah, just if they could do that, they could really just make a pack where it's like alternate heads to just swap, which,
isn't that
hey,
what they did with the character from 8th MS Team? Is they made like a generic Xeon girl, but you
yeah,
could swap on the head from
exactly.
8th MS Team?
Yeah, they've been doing that, like, even with the Sayla that they came out with, yeah, it was a pilot one, but you could put her on the Federation, uniform, figure, but anyway, and then there was some other ones. There was, Char in his pilot uniform, which is badass, and then Rumble Raw in his like this is, if I was a kid and I had discovered Gundam, these would be the first things I would want because I love action figures and stuff that would represent the things I was into. It's
Heck
just
yeah.
too bad they didn't have From Dusk Till Dawn action figures because then I had to make them myself with GI Joes, and then people were. It's like
Horrified.
it's funny because it's one of those art projects I don't like talk to people about. It's not like I went to school and I'm like, hey guys, I'm using my GI Joes as characters from Dusk Till Dawn and replaying the bar scene. It's like what?
Did you,
You know,
like, use Sculpey to make the little, belt buckle gun?
that is a great idea. And then if someone came and didn't know what I was, like it's like, what are you doing with your action figure? It's
I don't remember that GI Joe. I don't wanna know what his name is either. Like,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Uh, um, Oh, yeah, there's something else I wanted to show too. I forgot I had a lot of show and tell at the beginning. This is a Super 7 burning Godzilla that has the smoke effect parts, and it's a translucent orange for the burning
That's pretty
stuff.
sweet.
And
It does kinda look like he's wearing a fur coat, though.
I know, right? He's balling. There you go. No, but what's what's cool is this. So Super 7, they make a lot of cool action figures, especially like older ones. Now I say cool, but they're actually not that good of quality compared to the price. And I would say it's the same with this. These normally go for 100, but it was on sale on Amazon for 55. So I was like, you know what?
You are
That's
quite the deal hunter when it comes to these
oh
figures.
yeah, because so a lot of times when I see a cool action figure I want, my first thought is, okay, how can I get this as cheap as possible? And then sometimes I won't get things right away, and I'll just kind of wait and wait and then bite right when it's time. Like I did that with the Metal Build Zeta, even though the difference was like maybe $20. Um, okay. So yeah, I guess we'll jump into this Ultronymous Coupons Explained. There you
Perfect.
go. That's all right. We're gonna do this little segment here. So Hathaway 2 is coming out soon, and I know that there's the story based on the novel that's out there, but there's a lot of cool Gundam-y like stuff that I'd like to expect out of this. And in fact, it reminded me early on in Gundam Explained, um, myself, Goose, Ian, and I want to say there might have been someone else. Well, anyway, we made like a G watch that was Godzilla bingo. Like if you were to watch any Godzilla movie, what were the things that could possibly appear in it, right?
Yes.
And it's funny that making the bingo card is almost more fun than actually playing the game. So
Sometimes it is, yeah.
so let's go through this. This is going to be the Hathaway 2 bingo, aka take a sip every time Tomino spiritually sighs. It's pretty funny. So here we go. Row 1, Hathaway being Hathaway. So anytime Hathaway stares into the middle distance like rent is due. Okay. Hathaway makes a morally correct choice that feels deeply wrong. Yeah, there's a lot of that in the first one.
Yeah.
Hathaway says nothing for 20 seconds, but it's very important. Hathaway is technically right and absolutely miserable. Okay. Someone gently implies Hathaway should not be doing this.
I think we already got that from the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so row 2, Gundam politics. Earth Federation does something cartoonishly evil. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, they have a team called the Manhunters. Like, I've
There
never
you go.
never heard of a good guy called the Manhunters. And don't even talk about the Martian Manhunter. He's terrible.
But yeah, the name, it's like almost too obvious. Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay. Quote, this is for stability. In parentheses, it is not. A policy decision kills civilians off screen. Okay. Rich people leisure while colonies suffer. Yeah, I think that's how it goes anyway. And then someone
Yep.
explains oppression calmly and politely. I can see that totally happening. All right. Row 3, emotional damage. And this has a free space in the middle. So flashback that makes everything worse. Okay. Hathaway
everybody
remembers
gets wrong.
Quest. Everyone groans. Now, this one I have questions about. The free space is Tomino's ghost nods. But a couple things. Is ChatGPT hallucinating and implying that he's dead? Or is it because if Tomino was going to nod, he would have to be in the form of a ghost or spirit in Hathaway? So, yeah, either one,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. And here's the thing, I've uploaded so many transcriptions of Tomino interviews just to kind of like run like queries on stuff, like, and so I don't know how much this is pulling from that stuff or kind of pulling from what people talk about on the internet, because it's kind of coded in that sort of humor.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so after that, a quiet conversation hurts more than action. Oh, okay. Yeah. Romance exists but is doomed on arrival. Yeah, that's a pretty obvious one. Okay. This
I
next one
feel
is
like
mobile.
one scene might, like, knock out 4 or 5,
I know exactly. That's what's funny about that. Okay, Mobile Suit Cinema. Mobile suits feel heavy again, which I think we've already seen that from the trailer. They've done a good job of that. Beam weapons are terrifying and not flashy, which, yeah, I think the first movie did a good job of that. I like how this is kind of more serious, more down my lane.
yeah.
Combat happens at night or in rain. Yeah, they have to do that so it's easier to animate. Um, okay, a fight ends abruptly and unfairly. Okay. And collateral damage is the point. That would be pretty interesting to come across in that one, which seems like it would. They're only terrorists.
Yeah, I mean, when you have those shells coming down and, like, crushing people in
Yeah,
the
they have
first
to know
one.
that that's gonna happen. Yeah, it's, okay. Row 5, the vibe. Jazz moody score kicks in at the worst time, but
Mm.
I don't think Hathaway's like that. That's more
I
of
mean,
a
do you think that that SZA track is gonna play during the movie at all, or is that just promotional
oh,
only?
oh, I think it's gonna be the opening theme for real because they say it in the trailer, but that doesn't necessarily mean it. But the
Right.
first movie had a very James Bond-esque opening, and I feel
It
like
did.
they're gonna do that, but with this track. That's pretty cool. You know, what would be really cool is, and I'm sure this is the intention actually, that's also in Japan. Like, it's not like this is just to appeal to the West, which it could be, but it might also be. It would be interesting that instead of a Japanese pop track. Isn't that kind of interesting? That's why I was talking about this a lot last time. I find it very interesting they're choosing the song. Good for good reasons. Okay, man, I can talk about music all day. All right, back to the vibe. Cityscapes that look way too real. I mean, that's what it does.
Yeah,
Someone questions if revolution is worth it. Okay. The answer is no, but also yes. Okay. And then ending makes you sit in silence. I, I'm curious, what they're going to do. Because again, I haven't read the book or the second part of what happens in Hathaway, but you hear people online kind of mention things and talk about it. So sometimes it sounds like it aligns. So yeah, I think that's pretty fun. And I think the plan is to actually revisit this for fun after we watch it. Just to kind
that'd
of
be
see like
cool.
what matched up and maybe glean from it if there's other cool, what am I trying to get at? Story points, themes, or something that's not really picked up from this or from anyone. So
I mean, for sure, I feel like the obvious thing that's missing is, like, Gigi does something suggestive. Like the even just in the trailer, the way she's, like, painting
oh,
her toenails and, like, there's
that I
always
see what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah, because it's done like that on purpose, you know?
100%.
Yeah, so okay, that's a good call out because sometimes I forget, like, and you nailed this for me, drove this home for me. It's the idea that when the animation is being done, it's intentional and deliberate because of the cost.
Yeah,
And that can kinda help with really understanding a story, it's something visual,
exactly. Yeah, everything's animated for a reason.
which again goes to why as cool as subtitles can be, sometimes you want to be able to see. I talked about that on a podcast, and someone made a comment just saying, "Oh, if you can't read and see at the same time, like kind of refer to being inferior." And it's like, okay, I mean, it's not uncommon, especially nowadays, that people do divide their focus too much and not fully experience a single thing.
Yeah, I think it's funny that the same people who are like, subs only tend to watch stuff like with their phones out and maybe like, which is something that even like Matt Damon talked about on the Joe Rogan show. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Netflix has to like, you have to reiterate the same plot points 3 to 4 times in case someone missed it. But,
yeah.
there's that conversation about like how anime is supposed to be watched. And in actuality, anime is supposed to be watched with no subtitles in Japanese. And so the closest you could get to that would be dubbed, but accurately. Obviously, like I have my issues with like localization and changing the
Right.
meaning of things, but to say that the dub is inferior simply because it's dubbed, I think is incorrect. I would say the dub is only inferior if it changes the meaning of what the original
Yeah.
dialogue was.
Which that's what's really interesting about the live action, Godzilla movies from the 90s and the 2000s, where they were trying to say things in a serious manner. It's just unfortunately the dub. That's why I'll watch both. The dub allows me to like get through it quickly. The subtitles I have to read, but it's a lot more serious. Like
Yeah.
especially when you have uh and this is specifically, I think, which one was it I was watching? It was the Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, I think the one from 92 or 91, I forget, where there's a lot of silly plot between the president and the aides. But when it's in Japanese, it's like I'm taking it seriously. I'm like, oh shit, these guys are pretty serious. But then in the English dub, it's like it's this thing I learned where kind of the old school way of doing it is reading. It's almost like
Yeah.
you're pacing what you're saying as reading, which, and I think I feel bad I forgot his name, the voice actor of Hathaway.
Oh, yeah, I don't know his name.
He did Caleb
Mm.
Yen, I think. He did a really good job of the cadence of just sounding natural, like kind of talking and not having to like enunciate everything, and I
And
really
that's
like
the
that.
shame is, like, voice acting is such a difficult thing to do, and
Yeah.
sometimes people will go overboard with it. I'm sure you've seen that meme that's like, they took a scene from Dexter and then treated it like a Funimation dub, and it's like,
Oh, I didn't see that.
"What do you think? I'm here to invite you to my nephew's bris!" Like, it's like the typical, like, over the top Funimation style, I'm just gonna shout all my lines. But then,
Which
like you said, it's like
yeah.
you can either get somebody who's just reading text off a page, or you get somebody who's over the top. It's very rare that you can find a voice actor um,
It
that's
gets
well
like
trained enough
yeah,
to capture nuance.
but you did bring up a good point because I do think there's room for both, and I think that's what's cool about animation is it's like, okay, how hard do we want to lean into what we're trying to say here? And so sometimes it works to be a little goofy, but there's times like Double Zeta where it does go a little too far, But I will
Yeah,
always forgive Double Zeta. It's like it's this
it is a
weird
product of its time.
the the show Double Zeta is almost like a proper the whole series of Double Zeta is almost like just a proper episode of a Gundam show. You know what I mean? It's like without Sharon Amuro, it seems less like it's a big deal, but everyone's going out on this adventure, and everyone's got their mobile suits. I don't know. Yeah, it's like a Star Trek episode that doesn't have to do with the main plot, just has to do with like a side story.
Oh, those were always the best ones.
Yeah, I know. I really like that. So, and that actually reminds me, there's a new Star Trek show called Star Trek Academy that it's
Yeah,
been
I've
getting
been
a lot
hearing
of
about it.
crap online. I just haven't bothered watching it, but they bring up something that I don't think I ever thought about before. And they say like, but this I think has happened in previous ones where the dialogue is written way too modern
Yeah.
slang, and I didn't know what to think about that because I'm like, well, how would you know? But thinking back to watching Star Trek Next Generation, the way everyone spoke was very like matter of factly, and it was almost like the novel what would be like a quip or something was always like taken as a surprise in the moment, like the way the characters interacted, almost like that was not normal. And I think that it's funny because I watched Next Generation a lot with my dad when I was younger, and I just remember as I was watching it, I never understood everything they were saying. Be
I mean, their conversations were often extremely elevated when they're talking about things like duty and, like, n not political correctness in the sense of, like, social policing, but political correctness as, like, what are policy decisions that Starfleet
Right.
could make in given the situations that they're facing, and it got very existential from time to time. You would have
Yeah.
these really in-depth conversations, and it's like, I don't think that you get much of that. Usually in modern writing, you'll get people pontificating. You won't get
Right.
like a true back and forth debate, which is
And
something you get in Gundam, right? Like
right.
Char and Amuro
Mhm.
in Char's counterattack, truly debating the point of, whether humanity deserves to live on Earth or not.
And I've actually coined a term in my head for that, which it might already be a thing, but it's like tactical dialogue. It's
Mm,
where let's really describe. not what's happening, but how it's going to happen. Like, like, for instance, you see this just a little bit, but in, like, the Star Wars movies, whenever they're going to launch, like, the ships or whatever, there's a few minutes where there's discussing, like, or like in Gundam, when they're leaving like, when you're talking about the actions that are taking place in which someone would be doing that. It's like watching someone build a house, you know?
Yeah.
It's you're seeing, "Oh, okay, that's what it takes. Wow, they went through that and they put that there." That is I really like that type of dialogue in, shows and movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, the pontificating, that is the way to describe, what we see, and I feel like JRPGs are very guilty of that type.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you have a character that speaks uninterrupted for, like, several minutes, that's like a Yeah, exactly. It's a red flag. Um, because,
Oh,
yeah, it always cracks me up when, uh oh, man, it's like, do you remember in the 2nd Fantastic Four movie where Mr. Fantastic gets in the general's face and he goes on the speech because the general says like, "Oh, you sit back out here, I'm the quarterback." And then he makes a joke about like, "Or did you not play high school football like Reed Richards?" And he's like,
oh,
"No, I didn't play high school football, but fast forward 10 years and I'm the smartest man on the planet and married to the most beautiful woman and blah 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 blah." And it's just like, dude,
yeah.
nobody talks like that. Like, and I would not let you finish that sentence. Like, y the second you got to fast forward 10 years later, I'm like, "Sit your ass down."
That's funny. Yeah, it's very interesting how that happens in movies nowadays with the dialogue, and TV shows,
Even really good directors, I think, are guilty of it from time to time.
yeah.
Because like, I'm a big Tarantino fan, but even, like,
Oh,
in Inglourious Basterds, there's, like, that scene where they're making the deal with Londa, and
mhm.
Brad Pitt starts talking about his family farm and making moonshine, and the government comes and talks to him, it's like, dude, that line was way over the top. Like, literally all he had to say in that line was, "If something sounds too good to be true, it ain't." But
Yeah,
instead, he's talking
y
about, like, his family history, and it's like, that has no
sometimes
bearing on what's
yeah.
going on at the table.
It reminded me of, Death Proof, um,
Yeah.
because, like, I like that concept, but I felt like it was bogged down by, I'm not really watching this for the characters because this is short. Give me something, you know, um and so that makes me actually interested in kind of like, Sam Raimi's coming out with a new movie. The
Oh,
it's the one oh man, what are these actors' names? I don't remember.
these kids.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a plane crash on an island, and so it's just the assistant and the boss, but the boss is injured, so the assistant is like in charge. And it's a
Ah,
Sam Raimi horror movie. So
interesting.
I'm really curious though how much this is a Sam Raimi movie and how much this is total mainstream bait. It's a it's horror coded, but it doesn't look like a horror, but it has the intrigue of being on an island and the woman having the upper hand on the boss guy. Like that's more of an
Yeah.
interesting premise. I don't know how Sam Raimi it's going to be.
Well, that's
Um,
kinda like the movie Sinners, right? Like, Sinners has a horror aesthetic to it. It's horror light. It has horror elements in that it has vampires, but, like, it's not a scary movie by any means.
no,
It's a
you know what?
yeah, drama.
That's a very interesting movie because I like what it did at the beginning. I like what it did at the end, but together, to me, then I tend to just it's almost like, when something overstays its welcome,
Mm.
even though I didn't mind staying at the party longer, it was just a different party that maybe another something like that, so I tend to just not think of the movie too much, but it goes back to that Dusk Till Dawn idea
Dude,
that I
that's
like.
exactly what I told my wife. I was like, "This just feels like a remake of From Dusk Till Dawn, but with slightly different tweaks." It's even 2
Yeah,
brothers that are
yep.
trapped in a
They're
like
criminals. They're 2
yeah.
brothers that are criminals. Yeah, exactly. The thing though that I loved, the thing that made the movie awesome to me was at the end, when and this isn't a spoiler, when they kill the main vampire bad guy, like, the way they do it, and then they have, like, this metal playing, like, in the movies don't normally do that. Like, when an Iron Man had sort of that dad rock, that was,
Yeah.
like, as close as we got to metal in, like, a mainstream film, but the way they did the thrash metal, for the vampires, like, that yeah, that was definitely awesome, and it's something that it's a vibe I like that I don't think movies do enough, where you kinda marry, like, extreme metal with gothic themes. Um, Usually they go too symphonic or something or
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. I do love the juxtaposition of, like, modern music with, like you said, kind of more period elements, especially when there's a thematic purpose to it, like,
Yep.
that movie A Knight's Tale,
Oh, yeah.
where they did, like, a lot of, like, stadium rock because they were treating it as if, like, these were the athletes of ancient England. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, they would treat it like a football game. They'd have Gary Glitter, "Da-na-na-na, yeah,"
Yeah, I remember that, and see, that is cool. I think yeah, music in movies, I think, sometimes is underutilized. Um But
Absolutely.
and then I think we even talked about it. The reason was when they would be conceptualizing like trailers or scenes in movies, a producer or a producer or yeah, mainly a producer would get samples from other or director would get samples from other movies and be like, I want it to sound like this. So
Right.
then the composer would make it sound similar. And then that just kept happening throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. And that's where like
And
because
everything was Hans Zimmer.
oh, yeah. And here's the other thing, and I don't know if this is not, like, a popular opinion, but, like, I've finally come around to recognizing the Avengers theme. I never
Mm.
really heard it before. I don't really think it's any good. Um, I it's a very, like it almost sounds more fake in a hopeful way than a get shit done in a badass way. Because it's like, "Dun, dun,
Mm.
dun, superhero," or something, you know what I mean? And it doesn't Uh, because the other thing too with these soundtracks too is they don't usually do, uh, 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 oh, what's an example? So, like, the GoldenEye soundtrack.
Mm.
Remember that they used a lot of different instruments to make it sound completely different, and I feel like movies should do that a bit more.
Yeah. Well, and I know you haven't, partaken of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I think you'd
Oh.
appreciate the musical nuance of that
Oh.
because each film has its own, like, unique theme that's tied to one of the locales. So it's like you have the Shire theme, you have the Rohan theme, and then you have the Gondor theme. And what's interesting is that all 3 of those themes are distinct and have their own personality to them. But what's awesome is once you get to the final film, they have these medleys where it's like they're playing the Gondor theme when the
Oh.
Gondor soldiers are fighting, and then when the Riders of Rohan come in, it kind of, like, blends in seamlessly to the Rohan theme, so it's like when composers can do that kind of stuff where they take, really unique pieces and then somehow tie them together really well. I mean, shoot, I think they even did that in K-pop Demon Hunters where it's like there's homages to earlier tracks in the film in the final song, like, What It Sounds Like. They, like, have the chorus from their main track is like, playing underneath it, so it's cool stuff like that, man.
I love that. I like that idea of callbacks in music, especially in a movie.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something sometimes would wish artists would do when I'm like metal artists that I would listen to, where they would have an album and maybe the intro or first song has this tight riff that like the last track almost brings it back to end the album. I've
Yeah.
always talked about that with my brother for like the music we were making to almost make the album seem like a cohesive piece.
Dude,
Um,
even Gundam does a really good job of that, especially Zeta Gundam, because it's like
oh
the
yeah.
first death that we see in the show is Camille's mom, and there's like that track that's playing, and then as soon as she's killed, it's that ba ba
I
ba ba,
know.
and then every time that someone dies for the rest of the series, you get
Yep.
that little stinger.
And even and this again, the tactical dialogue that's in Zeta Gundam, where it was like when it's moving to like another part of what's going on, and it's the outside of the ship. It starts playing
Mhm.
this music that's almost like this background music, but it's ominous, and then like Shar, blah 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 blah. It does like that tactical
And
or
then
what?
once they hit the, launch deck, it's ba
Yeah,
ba 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 ba. Yeah,
yeah, that's good. Okay,
great,
Sway,
great
one
music.
of the Gundam, well, friend of both
Yeah,
of our channels. He posted, I think it was like maybe December of last year that they came out with a new live orchestra Zeta soundtrack.
it's really good,
Okay, so you know about it
especially the
too. Okay.
Amuro the Amuro track that they do, like, there's a piano solo in Amuro Returns that, like
Yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, guys, that's on Spotify. I was surprised. I had no idea about it. Okay, we're gonna jump into this other thing real quick. This is going to be Mobile Suit Gundam in order, the Universal Century timeline. So we're just gonna go through this, and at the end, we'll say if this is lit or shit. Okay. I just came up with that just
that's
now.
good.
I
That's
like that.
good. Now to frame it up, whose list is this?
Thank you. So this is IGN. Yeah, IGN.com. This is a Raphael Montemayor. So I don't know him too much, but we'll just blame it on IGN.
Yeah.
Okay, where to start? Number one, the origin. To start with the origin. Okay. I can see that. To
Bold
me, that's
strategy, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out for him.
oh, yeah. Well, yeah, to me, it seems like that's someone that's like already a hardcore lore master, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna dive into Gundam next. And then, they put on there. It's like those channels I see where it's lore for like every sci-fi series, and it's like the person doesn't just like that one show, they just like lore. They just like
Yeah,
sci-fi lore.
exactly.
Okay, and then after the origin, you would go into Mobile Suit Gundam, which makes sense. But after Mobile Suit Gundam, MS Igloo. I could see that for going back into more of a Xeon perspective for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we jump into 08 MS Team. And then Requiem for Vengeance, which I feel like is a good follow-up because what we're doing here is we're really in that one-year war. We're still in that one-year war here.
I think we
Um,
will be for quite a while. No, I'm just kidding. With all the One-Year War spinoffs.
well, yeah, that's true. Exactly. But then what's interesting, it goes into War in the Pocket,
Mm,
which
so good.
that's at the end. So that's a good one because that kind of ends that era. So I think that makes sense here. But then Thunderbolt, which I think it in a good spot just because it also goes to 81 or yeah,
I
doesn't it go to
Yeah,
80
I
or
would
80?
almost do Thunderbolt before War in the Pocket.
Well, because I think yeah, even though early Thunderbolt might be before, the later Thunderbolt is after the 1-year war, right?
Right,
Like,
it does kinda bleed
yeah.
over.
So then it goes into Stardust Memory, which I think would make sense to do that next. And then Zeta Gundam, okay, because depending on is it the new translation that has the newer Titan stuff, right?
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
wonder if that's like, let's see, something to add in. If you're really doing it this way, you watch a new translation, but you watch the last episode instead of the last 15 minutes.
There you go.
I
That's a
think
good way of doing it.
okay. And then Double Zeta Gundam. I applaud you adding that on here.
It made the list,
Char's counterattack,
naturally.
Unicorn, Twilight Axis, Narrative, Hathaway, F91 Victory, and G Savior. I call this the nerd list. This is if you were into lore and you're like, okay, get me down that Gundam lore, Universal Century. Anything missing
Yeah.
from this that you would have added?
I
Is
don't
there
know if
anything?
there's anything missing. G-Savior's
Yeah.
an interesting addition, like, if you're gonna go G-Savior, you might as well add Turn A after it.
Okay. Okay. I like what you're thinking. That would actually make sense. I was gonna come down here to see if it had that, but no. And then they're showing some other ones, but because the other AUs have very limited, it's probably easier.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize Build Fighters was called the Our Century timeline.
Yeah, it's kind of fun that it's like,
Yeah.
this is real life.
Man, and what are the chances that that's what the live action Gundam movie is going to be?
I mean, you had been pitching that for like before anybody mentioned it. It's like you were like, I feel like it's going to be build fighters. Like,
Because the only reason I say that is because if they want to double down on the Gunpla, the moneymaker,
you know it.
that's like when they come out with that Assassin's Creed movie that was bad. It was just to make the movie so it's visible, not that but anyway.
Oh yeah, that
Look,
was terrible.
I feel like anytime I start talking about the Gundam live action movie, that's the rest of the episode. So we're gonna move on. Anyway, oh, okay, correct. Century has its own little
Okay,
timeline.
there you
It does
go.
say it's tied in. So okay, wow, advanced generation timeline. I
Yep.
didn't realize it was called that. So it's interesting because when it's showing these other AUs, they're saying watch these AUs in order. Where I would think Seed would be a good next one since that's super popular.
Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like they're ordered in AUs that have lots of content
Yeah,
because most of them are just one entry, right? Like,
right. Yeah. Yeah, G-Quix timeline. Yeah, that's the last one. No, but yeah, I like
wait,
this
does it
list.
even have
What's
I
up?
think they left off Witch from Mercury, didn't they? Oh no, Ad
Oh,
Stella.
Ed
There it is.
Stella.
Yeah,
No,
I was
yeah,
gonna
that's
say
near the bottom
what?
also. Um, so I do think this is like a cool list for like if you know a hardcore anime nerd or someone like that, they're just that type of person where they like to really soak it in. That's a neat way. I mean, what if, and I think they've made this in a movie before, that you can decide what memories you want to delete so you can relive things. Isn't that in a movie that just came out? But
Probably.
but to do that for Gundam and be like, okay, tonight I want to watch, the origin up, for the first time, and before watching. But what would be funny is one, if you accidentally deleted the memory that you are deleting your memories, that would be horrible. But also, if you deleted your memory, you watched it, and then you're like, this shit, what?
I spent
Yeah.
half my life on a YouTube channel for this shit. Um,
No, that's
no,
that's
well,
good.
so I think the first two entries obviously beg the question. Adam, do you watch the prequel trilogy first or the original trilogy first?
So what I was doing after, I guess in the 2010s, I would say is I was always doing it where it'd be like prequel trilogy, then original. Like I was doing that for a little while. But that was almost like the immersive phase of being into Star Wars.
Yeah,
So much like if I went to go visit it again, I would just probably watch Return of the Jedi.
just Return of the Jedi over and over and
Yep,
over.
exactly.
Um, well, that was like there's an interesting dialogue going on Twitter about Dragon Ball Z, and they're like, oh, you should just skip the first 135 episodes and go straight to where Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, and it's like I understand that 135 episodes of an anime is a lot to watch, but the whole idea of him becoming a Super Saiyan, like
Is what he goes
that's
through.
built up over the course of those 135 episodes. If you it's like eating dessert before dinner. You ruin the anticipation of it. You just skip
Yeah,
right to the climax without understanding that the climax is only climactic because
yeah,
of the buildup. It's part of this new generation of like just impatience. These
yeah.
kids, man, these kids.
I know, but I think it's one of those things like with AI where that authenticity is going to rise to the top.
A
You know,
hundred percent. Now, you and I, like we didn't have a choice, right? We watched the original trilogy of Star Wars before the prequels, so
yeah,
we have no concept of what it would be like to watch the prequels before the sequels. So I
yeah,
think as a social experiment, what I'm gonna have to do is my kids are going to watch the prequels before they watch the original trilogy, and we'll
yeah.
see if they appreciate it as much.
Well, that's cool. And it does seem like people appreciate the prequels. Like I think wasn't there like this like comeback recently? I don't know how much that's Disney just pushing it versus it really being a thing. But it's that thing where people, what age people are now, from when it started.
Right.
But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting because there's so many interesting parallels with the origin and the prequels.
Yeah.
I don't sometimes I don't know how deliberate that is, or that's more of what happens with good storytelling. Oh, you want to tell history? Well, let's tell you where the evil came from, because that, you know what I mean?
But
It's
that's part of it, is it's like
yeah,
you almost have to go into it with that knowledge in order to appreciate why this story is relevant. So it's like, I think of like Rogue One. I don't think I would appreciate watching Rogue One if I hadn't seen any other Star Wars, because I'm like, who cares about this Death Star thing? Like, it's such an abstract threat because we've never seen it. We've never seen it
right.
blow up a planet or anything. But then, we're supposed to think that these are brave, heroic people for stealing the plans. And it's like, well, you appreciate that watching it, knowing that like, oh, this is the thing that Luke destroys. Like, I get it now.
You know what? In you framing it that way, even though I've always, uh,
And I
uh,
love Rogue One. Like,
you know, I,
I'm not yeah.
no, but it made me think how much Rogue One is the closest Star Wars to Gundam. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Especially the mechanics. It has that tactical dialogue I love. One of my
Yep.
favorite parts is when Darth Vader emergency Star Destroyer hyperspeeds in over the and destroys the ships in the way, and then he's like looking out the window. It's because it's not like that story dialogue. That's like the tactical action that is having to occur and how the characters are
Right.
reacting. I love that stuff. Okay. One last thing I wanted to cover also, because this is an article from not too long ago. This is the end of last year, and as much as we talk about mobile suit combat in Gundam, I found this article about the 7 best fights in Mobile Suit Gundam history ranked. So, since it is ranked, that means it's an order of operation. We're going to give our own ranking as we go, not knowing what the next one's going to be.
Fair
That's always
enough.
fun. Okay. This first fight, it's a number 7, Camille Badan versus Jared Mesa. So,
Oh, so these are actual fights, not like mobile suit fights.
right, that's what I find interesting about this. So, here, straight up, I'm going to tell you this is number 1 in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
So,
Although I don't know if it would be this one. I think that there's the later fight in Kilimanjaro when Camille throws Jared off of a cliff and Jared has the broken leg. I think that that's a better fight, but I still give this one number 1.
just because I just remember when I watched this, it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, this is a crazy anime, but the rest of the episode did a great job just explaining this is Camille as a person. So, um, okay, Shin versus Kira and See Destiny. Well,
Not bad. I mean, you want to talk about like obviously Camille inspired fights,
yeah. Having Shin in here. So this is interesting. I was thinking Universal Century the whole time, so I got caught off guard. AU. It'll be number
Like,
7.
where's the nose?
I don't see a nose. This is so no. Yeah, this is my number 7. So all right,
Fair
here we
enough.
go. Amuro Ray versus Char Aznable. So okay, even though these are fights against people, I guess it's ideological fights,
Okay,
right?
yeah, they're more like so it's not necessarily one specific fight. It's the rivalry between those two characters.
That's what it seems like, because so far with these, yeah, that's like, I mean, because they might be in a mobile suit, they might not,
Right.
So Amuro Ray and Char Aznable, I mean, that would really be number 1, but since that's Camille and Jared, it's number 2.
Yeah.
I don't
It
know.
would have been number 1 if they had kissed after the sword, break.
There you go.
Just a quick little
Oh, did you happen to get to this?
I did.
Okay.
I have to say, Graham Acre got a special place in my heart.
Yeah. You should finish the series. Even though I don't remember actually anything that I got to watch it again.
Well, I already know that he becomes, another masked fellow.
Yeah. Okay, so you know all that stuff. You
Yeah.
could guess by this point.
Right.
Okay, Banager Lynx versus Full Frontal.
Which is
Um,
ironic because that's a picture of him
yeah,
versus Riddy.
yeah. I was about to say that screenshot does not compute.
Um,
So, okay, that's kind of boring. It's kind of like, yeah, Banager versus Full Frontal.
Ridiculous.
Technically. Um, yeah, that's funny. Let's see. Oh, so number 2 is Amuro versus Char Aznable from Mobile Suit Gundam. I feel like there's
Gotcha.
no real rules with this list.
It does.
Like next it's gonna say Haro versus I don't Pac-Man. I don't know.
Or like Bright Noah versus his seatbelt. I don't know.
Wait, wait a minute. Why hasn't Bandai Namco made a Pac-Man game that stars Haro? Holy.
All
There's some
right, fire up Claude. We're gonna do this.
I like that as like anything. It's like world peace. How come they have it fire up Claude right
Let's
now?
do it.
No, okay. Well, okay, beside the Pac-Man Haro. Oh, look at number 1. Okay. For laughs. This is strictly for laughs, and that's cool. I mean, I have the SH Figure Arts action figure of Master Asia, so it's not like I hate this. This actually is cool.
Fair
Well,
enough.
okay, so that wasn't as interesting as I thought. So if we were gonna talk fights, I was also thinking more of a clash between two people that's not related to technology or mobile suits. Um, what would it be? I mean, I, what didn't Camille's karate teacher kick him or something?
Well, I was gonna say Wong Lee from the AUG, like, just
Oh,
absolutely savagely beat the crap out of Camille, and everyone was watching. Like, it
I
was
know. Like, yeah. Okay, but you know what is his name? Kuga. For some reason, that popped up. The guy, is it in Unicorn? That's with Echoas, and they don't they like maybe there's not too much combat, but they like infiltrate where the sleeves were holding some of the Federation hostage, and the Echoas came through. Do you remember that? Like because I'm trying to think of what were some badass fight scenes.
they are few and far between, like, the out of mobile suit fights.
Okay, here's another one, Marita, but I think it's just for a second in Benager. Doesn't she like try to do like a sweep kick or something at some point when they're running?
Yeah,
I think it's
and he,
something.
like, ducks it, doesn't he? Like,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That it's something like that. Yeah. That. So I
I
gotta
feel like,
say,
honestly,
yeah.
I think that there are more fist fights in Double Zeta Gundam than there are in literally any other Gundam series. Because
Yeah.
there's occasions where, like, Bicha and Mondo are fighting, or
Right.
Yazan's beating up, Judo, or, like, Judo's beating up Bicha, or, there's so much out of mobile suit violence. Sometimes they're fighting, Sharasun or Mashimir.
Exactly. Even Yazan. Yazan. Yeah. Um. Yeah. There's a lot of that. The slapstickness almost. We're yeah. That's kind of interesting. Well, cool. Well, yeah, that was a fun little episode, guys. Thanks for all that joined in. I think that's all I've got for this week. But next week we'll have another episode also on Steven's channel, Midnight Hatter. Steven, anything else to bring up?
No, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. I'll have a good weekend. See you later.